Hello, this is the welcome to the YouTube channel, and we're going to be talking about everything neuro on this channel. And this is the second installment, the second lesson in our three-part series on transcranial direct current. So I hope you enjoy the first one, and I hope you are going to enjoy this one and the next one. And if you do, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. Like the video, because if what happens is when we're deciding on what content to put in and what types of videos to put in, we look to how many likes each video got, and that guides us in the content. So if you like this, click the old like button, and please tell your friends about the channel so that they can also take part. Okay, let's get on with part 2, where we continue our discussion on the transcranial direct current stimulation, and we will cover the what transcranial direct current actually does in this lesson, and we'll cover a little bit of the history of how transcranial direct current has developed, and look at some of the researchers and clinicians that have actually restored tDC into the treatment modalities that are commonly used in neurophysiology and in the neuroplastic alterations that we try to do in this diploma program we try to teach you about. So without further ado, this is the normal way, or one of the ways in which the DC gets applied. So we have a electrode, 2 electrodes across the head, usually held by a strap system. You'll see here, this is the blue thing is a big sponge that is usually soaked in some kind of saline or water, and then we can move current across the brain in a certain pattern and with a certain amperage flow across the brain. Now let's talk about the history a little bit of the tDC current. So galvanic current is another term that's used for direct current. So galvanic current is basically a current moving in only one direction. Okay, and usually the the historic application of galvanic current was that they could use it to drive ionic compounds deep into the tissue. So you could use it for arthritis in joints. You could put a salve or a compound on your hand or on your elbow or knee, and then use a direct current or galvanic stimulator to drive that that ointment or salve, whatever you're putting on, deeper into your joints or deeper into the tissue. And you know, the galvanic currents have been around for a couple centuries, probably more, but we didn't really know what it was before then, and we didn't have any systematic form of application. But through the years, galvanic current has been used to treat a variety of different things, and you can see some of the ads that were put out that I just captured from the internet. That you could, you know, Lindstrom's electrico-medical apparatus, or you know, the little boxes and how they would sell these things to make them look more scientific or medical. And but what we do know now is that because of the surge of pharmaceuticals and the surge of other types of treatments like electroconvulsive therapy and the pharmacologic drugs, psychopharmacologic drugs that were produced, the hope of those new treatments overshadowed things like direct current and all the other modalities that we apply across the brain that are non-invasive, because it was thought that the silver bullet had been found, that the solution to psychiatric problems, the solution to any kind of neurologic problem would be found in the pharmacological basis of something we could deliver to change the function of the nervous system from a drug component or a pharmacological component that would alter the transmission or alter our perception of things so that we would have a cure of the symptom. Now, unfortunately, that hasn't actually happened, and a lot of the pharmaceutical applications have side effects, or they're not as effective as we thought they were. And so this has renewed the search and the clinical search and clinical research to look for other things. And of course, direct current is one of those, transcranial lasers another, vagus nerve stimulation, neurofeedback. We have a bunch of different modalities that have reemerged, for instance, from the back corner of the dark room and been reinvestigated and had a new second life, if you will. And it's actually the same concept with EEG, which was basically relegated to the back corner too, because MRI and functional MRI and CAT scans were all thought to be the new wave of understanding of the brain, until we realized that they also have limitations that EEG can overcome. So it looks like a lot of the different modalities, a lot of the different measuring tools have had a relook and a emergence or resurgence back into clinical application. So let's look at now basically some of the superstars of reintroducing some of these modalities back into the clinical component of treatment and in clinical component of neurophysiology and neuropsychiatry. So Michael, Nietzsche, Walter Paulus, Alberto Priori, these are the sort of the big names or the leaders in research in the European sort of segment, because it has the research and application of DC and EEG has really come about from two distinct areas. One is the European reemergence, and one is the reemergence from North America or the United States. So the Michael, Nietzsche, Walter Paulus, Alberto Priori are the leaders in areas in the European resurgence, whereas Alvaro Pascal-Leon, Markham Bixham, Philippe Fregnet are all out of Boston, the Harvard University system, and Markham is operating out of New York University. I think it's City University of New York. But these are the leaders. You'll see their name on a lot of the papers that we're going to be referring to. You'll see that they have very active labs doing research, and we really owe them a lot of credit for developing and spending the time to investigate these things. Now, I myself received my initial training in tDC and magnetic stimulation from Alvaro Pascal-Leon and Philippe Fregnet at Harvard University. And I've also received additional training from Markham Bixham, various conferences around the world. And they're all very, very respected and ethical researchers. So when you see their name on a paper, it's probably going to be a pretty good paper. Okay, it's just so when you're flipping through the research, looking at some of the published articles, you'll see that their labs are producing a lot of very, very solid and influential information that we can use. So what basically this has brought about a reappraisal of how can we use non-invasive stimulation to treat specific symptoms inside the brain, because non-invasive usually implies it's a lot safer, there's less side effects, it's usually these types of applications are cheaper to do. and more portable. So there's a lot of good reasons to investigate the non-invasive influences on brain function that we can generate. Okay, so basically Nitsch and Paulus demonstrated that weak electric currents could be delivered effectively transcranially, and they can induce bidirectional or polarity dependent changes in cortical activity. Huge sort of breakthrough papers, huge breakthrough concepts, and really started the whole investigation into this transcranial non-invasive techniques. And basically they showed that under certain circumstances we can use the anode and the cathode to produce excitability or inhibition, depending on what parameters we put around what the amp flow is, where they're located on the skull. So we're going to get into all that as this lesson moves on. So these are great researchers, great clinicians, and we owe them a debt of gratitude for the work they've done in this area. You'll see their names again. Okay, so basically, what types of things can we use direct current for? Now, we know that it's been used clinically for stroke rehabilitation. It's been used in movement disorders involving things like Parkinsonism, cognition disorders, neuropsychiatric diseases like depression, ADHD, those types of things. Pain management, it's been also used in pain management. New applications are coming out now where we're looking at the cerebellar stimulation component or capability of direct current. Spinal cord stimulation is also another area that's evolving. So basically we can use DC current to induce specific changes, and this is neurophysiological or neuropsychological, and we can also induce changes in the motor activity functional components of targeted brain areas. So again, I'll review that the very appealing characteristics tDCs is that it's non-invasive, it's well tolerated, people don't even feel it most of the time. Sometimes they can feel a small tingle on the upper amp component that we discussed in lesson 1. It's very mild. They're mild to no aversive effects, and it's been looked at and actively investigated. In fact, we've done some clinical research and published some papers on a wide range of neuropsychiatric disorders such as depression and autism, ADHD, those types of things. And now we're actually expanding into drug addiction, into areas of drug addiction and performance enhancement, which are areas that are quite exciting and look to have great potential in the future. So the future for transcranial direct current and all of the non-invasive stimulation techniques is quite bright and quite exciting. And that's one of the reasons that we've produced this program, this diploma program, is to allow people to bring themselves up to the proper education level to start understanding how to apply these things and understand the potential of these things, use it for research purposes, and then in our postgraduate diploma, we will move into actual clinical application and showing you how to treat patients and treatment plan protocols and that kind of stuff. So you're in an exciting field, you're in an exciting time to be looking into this stuff. And I just hope you're as excited as I am about this and you keep moving forward in this field that has such great potential to help people. Okay, so what actually is DC? Now, we touched on this in lesson 1, I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail now. So basically the direct current is a technique in which the dose of the treatment is a sustained direct current across the tissue, which is usually the brain. In fact, with tDCs, we'll find that actual tDCs nomenclature signifies a specific stimulation technique across the brain. So tDCs is defined as a treatment that has a dose in the waveform of a sustained direct current, and that is with the exception of the up ramp and the down ramp. So the up ramp is when we're building the current up. The down ramp is when we're reducing the current down. Okay, and it usually will often require some kind of electrolyte combination. So usually the electrode is comes in contact with some kind of a sponge or water absorbent material, which then touches the skin on the skull. There's a lot of different types of these types of electrolyte buffer systems, conduction systems, ranging from paste to saline to dehydrated sponge material that expands when you add water to it. There's very sophisticated systems that have been developed for bridging this electrode to contact the skull challenge. Okay, so we'll in our clinical component of this, we'll take you through a variety of those different techniques and how to do them. But for now, this is the theory part, and we just want you to understand that you need an electrolyte substance that allows the electrons to produce a ionic movement through the skin. And remember, the skin has a low conductance or a high resistance, so we have to find a way of getting over that to get the movement of the ions inside the brain that we want. Okay. Now, it's also important to remember that tDCs does not include any kind of electrodes that are below the skin. So if we have to inject an electrode or cut the skin open to insert an electrode, those are subdural stimulation electrodes.